Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. So today we are playing FirePaly's Big Rogue on the Wild Mode ladder. Now this is a deck inspired by a wild Hearthstone player called Dane. Do yourselves a favour, check out his YouTube channel and his Twitch stream. He is an amazing player, a very creative player too. So anyway, this is FirePaly's take on Big Rogue based on Dane's interpretation of Big Rogue. So what's the idea behind the deck? The idea, as with any big decks, is to cheat out big minions very, very early. So Barnes on turn 4, for example, can cheat out something quite early. You have the likes of Kobold Illusionist to cheat something out very, very early. So yeah, it's sort of similar to Big Priest in some ways, although I think Big Priest has an easier time of resurrecting big minions on the board. You know, literally on wild mode, resurrect cost 2. You know, you've then got 4 cost spells that can resurrect minions. So I think Big Priest has an easier time. But that doesn't mean to say that this deck is bad. You know, Big Rogue has some real advantages. You know, you have cards like Sap, which can offer massive tempo swings. Cards like Cheap Death, which you know then allow you to play a big minion again for cheaper cost. So this deck has advantages comparative to Big Priest. Let's not forget Enzoth the Corruptor in this deck not only brings back the likes of Sneeds and Sylvanas, but getting back Kobold Illusionists, for example, can be a big deal. Notice the inclusion of Mad Scientist in this deck as well to bring out those secrets. So let's have a look at this deck in action on the Wild Mode ladder against a warrior. Now, Mad Scientist in hand, I like that. It's you know, Scientist has always been considered a high value minion. Oh look, there's the second one. Bringing out those secrets without having to expend mana to play them feels good. I've kept Sap because I don't know what kind of a warrior this is. Scientist, by the way, is really good if it's Pirate Warrior. Just having a body that can contest a pirate early is good. Although since the nerf to patches, how popular is Pirate Warrior these days? So the fact that he's armoring up probably means he's Control Warrior. Although if it is still Pirate Warrior, it could be a Pirate Warrior that's, you know, saving a ship's cannon with a whole host of pirates that they can play in one go. So that could explain the armor up pass. But as I say, since the nerf to patches, it's highly unlikely. I do think this is Control Warrior. So these scientists here are not doing very much, but we'll chip away at his face, and that's always worth something. And if it is Control Warrior, having access to Sap can be a big deal. Right, what do we get? We get Cheap Death. Now, that's not great with the Scientist on board. We don't really want a Scientist back to hand. We'd love a Sylvanas to come back to hand, but not a Scientist. So let's just hope that we can get to a point where we can play Sylvanas and get her back. And this is Cthulhu Warrior. Cthulhu Warrior, by the way, historically, one of my favourite warrior decks to play. You know, just with the likes of Cthulhu, Shield Bearers. I love the Brand Shield Bearer combo. It's just brilliant.
Here we go.
But we're doing our best here to keep control of the board. We have slowed down a little bit, but that is to be expected with this deck. There just comes a point where you're waiting and waiting and waiting for those opportunities to bring out those big minions from your hand onto the board. Okay. Now I'm going to commit the Sylvanas. Because we have a secret in play that when she dies, she'll come back to hand. So his priority now is to kill her as soon as possible before he commits minions to the board. So, of course, a shield slam, yeah, is a perfect way of doing so. However, I get value here. She comes back to hand, so I will play her again at some point. And, of course, my ends off will now get increased value as well. At this juncture, I'm going to value card draw, I think. It's another cheat death. There is one card in particular now that I'm searching for, and it's that one right there, the Kobold Illusionist. I mentioned earlier about waiting to cheat out big minions. Hopefully now our wait is over. Kobold Illusionist is going to hopefully bring out a Sylvanas. Hopefully. Or a Kel'Thuzad. And in the case of KT or Sylvanas, even if they are 1/1 copies, it doesn't really matter. You can still get insane value. So, let's see what happens here. Sonya will hopefully do some work for us. I assume there will be some kind of a whirlwind effect here to kill off the one health minion. Yep. But that illusionist is just waiting to trade into that 3/3. Okay, here we go. I think it's time. I think it's time for Sonya to come down. Oh boy.
Soldiers of the cold dark, obey the call of Kel'Thuzad.
And now the chain of value begins. So I think I'm gonna quieten down on the commentary here a bit. Just want you guys to experience this, to feel this. Because if you're the warrior, what do you target? All of these minions are bad to target because he knows there's 2 secret subs, so I'm going to get something back to hand. So he's just going to brawl.
Soldiers of the cold, obey the calls of Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, he's in a really bad situation here. Kel'Thuzad's on board. 1 is bad enough. 2? That's really scary. And that attack right there is pointless. KTs will bring her back to life.
Soldiers of the cold, obey the calls of Kel'Thuzad.
4 KTs on the board. Killing 1 off seems sensible. It'll just come back to life. I mean, we don't even need to play any minions from our hand. But we've played the sap there just to clear a bit of hand space. It just doesn't matter at this point. really doesn't matter. If he deals with this board, I will simply refill the board. So he's in a bad position. There is brawl number 2. What's that gonna do? Oh, it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing.
Well played.
Kel'Thuzad. Soldiers of the cold dark, obey the call.
5 Kel'Thuzads on the board. This is so glorious.
Here we go.
And it is certainly worthy of a screenshot.
Who knows what secrets will uncover? The Feast of Souls begins now.
And Bran Emperor usually would be considered, you know, an excellent combo. In this particular situation, it does absolutely nothing. Okay, so FirePaly's Big Rogue. What do I think? Incredibly fun to play. Just having the ability there to cheat out those big minions, particularly Kel'Thuzad. It's the most fun I've had playing Hearthstone in a long time. A lot of people view KT as a win more card, hence you don't see him included very much in decks. But I think in this deck, as you saw in that previous game, he worked wonderfully well. And there is nothing better than having, you know, what was it, 5 KTs on board, all humming and singing their battle cry at the same time in chorus. That was just amazing. So yeah, this is a fun deck. Compared to Big Priest, I'm not so sure. I still think Big Priest has a bit of an advantage in terms of being able to resummon some of its minions through spells, through cheap spells like, you know, Resurrect and Eternal Servitude. But regardless, this deck still has its advantages, and to be able to play a Kobold Illusionist on turn 4, it is still pretty significant, because if you compare it to Big Priest, if Big Priest does not get Barnes on turn 4, often it is turn 6 when they can put something on the board that's reasonable. Whereas with the Illusionist, as I say, you can play it on turn 4 and hopefully, you know, trade it into something. And then, as I say, cheat out something big, which, you know, is a pretty significant advantage. Bringing out a Ragnaros, bringing out a Sylvanas, a Sneeds, a Lich King. It's a big deal. What you do need to be aware of is not bringing out Enzoth the Corruptor. I mean, that's pretty awkward because it does nothing just as a mere body on the board. But yeah, as you saw in the last game though, if you can get the KTs out along with Sonya and the secrets, then you are pretty much laughing all the way. You know, the warrior tried his best. He tried his multiple board clears, but in the end it just wasn't enough. I find Baron Rivendare an interesting inclusion, a bit situational, but if you can combo Rivendare with an illusionist that's trading into another minion, yeah, that's pretty significant. If you can combo Rivendare with a Silver Vanguard that's dying, that is pretty significant. And let's not forget Spirit Singer Umbra Kobold Illusionist combo on turn 8. That is also pretty insane. So you can have an incredible amount of fun with this deck. What I'd be interested in hearing is your feedback on this deck. What do you think of it? Do you like these cards? Are there cards that you would remove? This deck is slightly different to Dane's version, I believe. So yeah, some of you may have seen Dane's version on his YouTube channel. So yeah, any comments would certainly be welcome. I also invite the author of the deck, FirePaly, to leave some comments in response to any questions that people may have. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, I would be grateful. And I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.